بسم الله. دكتور شريف، حضرتك معانا عشان نبدأ؟ طيب. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I think now we can start now. Yes. I will speak in Arabic first, Doctor, then I will translate to English. Okay. دلوقتي يا جماعة احنا معانا الدكتور مايكل مولر. طبعا يعني سبحان الله، أنا كل مرة بعمل ورشة مع حد أجنبي بيبقى عندي نفس التوتر بتاع كل مرة. أنا نسيت أعمل التسجيل. كل مره بعمل ورشه مع حد اجنبي بيكون عندي التوتر بتاع كل مره. انا شايف ان دي نقطه ايجابيه ونقطه سلبيه، فخلينا نشوف. كمان الدكتور يعني مايكل مورر هو قامه كبيره جدا جدا في علم الاي بي اي، وهو كمان رئيس يعني بورد كبير جدا، او هو كان من مؤسسين بورد كبير جدا زي الاي بي اي او. اتفضل يا استاذ شريف عشان اترجم. دكتور شريف. يس بليز.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. لو
وعليكم
ممكن
السلام
تفتح لي
ورحمه الله.
إمكانية التسجيل عندي يا دكتور أحمد بعد
انا
إذنك.
فتحتها لك المفروض.
أوكي.
انت قفلت
شكرا يا
المايك
دكتور.
ليه؟ اتفضل.
شكرا. هاي دكتور مونر. هاواري. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بالجميع في منصة آفاق مالية للتدريب. طبعا إحنا نفخر إن يكون معانا دكتور مايكل مولر متواجد معانا على المنصة. كمان بنفخر إن يكون معانا الأستاذ أحمد، وهو زميل عزيز وأستاذ كبير في مجال تحليل السلوك التطبيقي، وأخ عزيز. هو هيكون بيدير اللقاء مع الدكتور مايكل مولر بإذن الله تعالى. نتمنى لكم محاضرة كلها علم واستفادة بإذن الله تعالى. تفضل أستاذ أحمد.
Yes, Dr. Michael Mueller. I think everyone here knows who is Dr. Michael Mueller, but I need you to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. It is a great honor and a pleasure to be here. It's really, really beautiful to see so many people interested in the topics of applied behavior analysis. You want, Ahmed, I don't know, how much do you want me to say before you translate? You want me just to keep going for a little while, or? Are you, is he there? I think he was frozen.
Yes, I backed. Sorry, Dr. Michael. Yes.
Oh, it's okay. I wasn't sure how long you wanted me to speak before
I
you
didn't hear
ended.
anything. Could you start, please?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I was saying it's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. It's a beautiful thing to see so many people here in person interested in applied behavior analysis.
Thank you so much. طيب دكتور مايكل مولر يا جماعه هو يعني حاصل على الدكتوراه في علم الاي بي اي، وهو كمان BCBA-D في البورد الامريكي اللي هو قفل في الشرق الاوسط، وكمان هو من مؤسسين بورد الاي بي او. هو سعيد جدا جدا ان هو معانا النهارده. انا شرف جدا ليا ان هو بيقول الكلمتين دول. Yes, doctor. We can start by first question. Uh, what you can say to us after the whole year for experience in EBA?
Sorry, repeat the question, please, for me.
Yeah. If someone asks you now, after this all years in EBA, what you can say to us?
Yeah, I think the most important things in ABA today are the same things that were the most important things in ABA 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. I think behavior analysts have to be focused on the very things that make behavior analysis different and important, more important in some respects than other related disciplines.
Yes, doctor, we hear you.
So am I speaking and then you're translating, or do you want me just to?
Yeah, you will speak, and after you finish the whole answers, I will translate to them.
Okay, because I have a tendency to speak for a long period of time, so I can talk and stop and talk and stop. It's up to you.
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think the things that are most important in applied behavior analysis right now are the same things that were important, 10 years ago. The behavior analysts have a unique set of skills that other people that do similar things don't have. And those are our knowledge and our ability to use single case designs, our research methods, our ability not just to help, but to know why the help is working, our analysis, and our ability to prove what it is we're doing has a tremendous effect on human behavior. Those are the most important things in the field right now.
Okay, that means ABA not help us to make intervention with the cases, but also it help us to know if this intervention is exactly the good implement or not.
Yeah, the role of an applied behavior analyst is not simply to change behavior. The role of the behavior analyst is to first understand the behavior and then make changes to it. If we can understand the behavior first, we will know why the behavior change is successful. Or in cases when we're not successful, we will also know why we're not successful and we'll be able to modify it in an intelligent way.
اوكي، هو الدكتور بيقول خلاص خبرته في مجال الاي بي اي، او بيقول هو اهم حاجه بيركز عليها الاي بي اي هي ان الاي بي اي مش بس بيركز على السلوك، لا هو بيركز على فهم السلوك. فلما انت تفهم ايه السبب وراء السلوك ده بتقدر تعمل تدخل معاه، وكمان مش بيسيبك، لا هو بعد التدخل بيفضل يقيم هل التدخل اللي انت عملته ده صح ولا المفروض ننقل على تدخل تاني. يعني كمثال، هو عشان يعدل سلوك مثلا ولد بيعيط، فهو طرق التعلم اللي هي القديمه بتاعت تحليل السلوك هيقول لك مثلا اشتغل معاه بالعقاب او بالاطفاء او باو. لكن علم تحليل السلوك بيقول لك افهم الاول وظيفه السلوك، يعني وظيفته هل الطفل ده بيعيط عشان ياخد حاجه، ولا بيعيط عشان يهرب من حاجه، ولا بيعيط عشان هو عايز يعيط، ولا بيعيط مثلا عشان يجذب انتباهك. فعلم تحليل السلوك بيركز على فهم السلوك اكتر عشان يقدر ان هو يعدله. يس دكتور.
So behavior analysts affect behavior in different ways. We increase behaviors that certain individuals have in deficit, and we decrease behaviors that individuals have in excess. And so there are many ways that people can do this. Parents can do this, teachers can do this, a variety of people can do it. But what sets behavior analysts apart from other people who can change behavior is our knowledge of why those behaviors are changing. We have a particular set of skills that we can apply in a way that allows us to make changes in an informed way that other people in other disciplines don't understand.
اوكي، هو الدكتور كمان بيقول علم تحليل السلوك مش بيركز كمان على فهم السلوك، لا بيركز على او هدفه هو زياده السلوكيات الايجابيه وتقليل السلوكيات السلبيه. يعني الواحد بيكون عنده بعض السلوكيات الايجابيه، هو علم تحليل السلوك التطبيقي بيحاول ان هو يزود السلوكيات دي ويقلل من السلوكيات السلبيه. طب مين اللي بيشتغل مع الحاجات دي؟ قال لك ممكن يكون الاباء، ممكن يكون المعلمين، ممكن يكون الاخصائيين، اي حد عنده الفنيات اللي هو يقدر يعمل بيها تحليل للسلوك بتاع الانسان. يس دكتور.
Yeah.
Okay. You finished the first question. Second question is because we are in Middle East, we hear about more borders. Someone say BCBA, someone is saying QBA, someone is saying IBA. More boards. I think there is a Arab board also is going before 2 days. What the difference between these boards?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
The BACB was started in 1998. And the requirements to obtain those certifications from 1998 until 2020 changed multiple times. They changed in various ways. So, for instance, the amount of ABA education that was required started out at 180 hours, and then it went to 225 hours. Then it went to 270 hours. Now they have it at 315 hours. The supervision, for instance, started at 6 months, and then it was a year, and then it was 1,500 hours, and then it was 1,500 hours by a BCBA, and then 1,500 hours by a BCBA that had the 8-hour supervision, etc. So there were all these different changes over time.
Yeah.
Those changes were made based on what the United States could tolerate. And what happened was, as the process got more restrictive and more difficult to obtain, people outside of the United States had a very difficult time obtaining the certifications. And here's a number to highlight that. In 2020, there were 200,000 people certified by the BACB in North America.
Oh, outside of America or in America?
In America, 200,000. Outside of North America, 8,000. The rest of the world, 8,000 people. Because it was very, very difficult to obtain BACB certifications for a number of reasons. So in 2020, the BACB stopped providing certifications outside of the United States. If you want to get the BCBA, you have to live in America. Two small exceptions to that, but basically you have to live in America. In 2012, the QABA was formed, and they were formed to break up the monopoly of the BACB. The reason that the QABA exists has nothing to do with international certification. The reason that they exist, the reason that their organization started, was to compete with the BACB in the United States. That was their role. That was their purpose. That
was their role, but it doesn't continue, yes?
Well, so this is important because when they started, they mirrored all of the different requirements, the education requirements, the degree requirements, the hours requirements, the supervision requirements. They mapped those on exactly to the BACBs. That's fine. It's actually a noble effort and a genuinely positive thing that they tried to do in the United States. The problem with that is, if you have the same requirements that were difficult to achieve outside of the United States, those requirements are still difficult to achieve outside the United States. When IBAO started, we did not try to copy the BACB. We started fresh with the perspective of, we are going to consider what the previous problems were, what the barriers were, what the obstacles were, what made these difficult to obtain. And we're going to create a new system so that people have a better opportunity outside of the United States to obtain certifications. Our role was not to compete with the BACB in the United States. Our role was to create something specifically for the international community, not to make it easier to pass the exam. The exam is very difficult. To make it more culturally relevant and accessible to get to the exam. So our requirements take into consideration where the international community is in behavior analysis, not where the United States is in behavior analysis.
Could you repeat the last thing, please? Our
Our requirements are based
Yeah.
on where the international community is relative to ABA. Our requirements are not based on where the United States is in ABA today.
اوكي. let me translate. thank you. دلوقتي انا سالت الدكتور سؤال في مجموعه بوردز مشهوره الفتره دي، زي مثلا بورد الكيو بي اي وبورد الاي بي او وبورد البي سي بي اي، وفي كمان بورد عربي طالع، ففي كتير جدا مجموعه بوردات طالعه. ايه الفرق بين البوردز دي؟ فقال لك رقم واحد، هو اتكلم عن البورد البي سي بي اي. قال لك ان البي سي بي اي ابتدى في امريكا من 1989. البورد البي سي بي اي ابتدى في امريكا من 1989. طيب لحد 2020 كان بيقدم خدماته للعالم كله، ما فيهم الشرق الاوسط والى اخره، او كان بيقدر ان هو يعتمد ناس من بره امريكا. ثم قفل في 2020. ليه قفل في 2020؟ هقول لكم دلوقتي. اولا هو كان معتمد في 200 الف بي سي بي اي من داخل امريكا، 200 الف بي سي بي اي من داخل امريكا، و8000 بي سي بي اي من جميع انحاء العالم. يعني تخيل انت الفرق، من جوه امريكا بس 200000 ومن جميع انحاء العالم 8000. ده رقم واحد. رقم اثنين، من اول ما فتح من 1989 لحد 2020 قال لك اتغير كذا مره. يعني مره كان بيقول لك المفروض تدرس كورس مثلا نفترض مثال يعني 150 ساعه واشراف 50 ساعه. بعد كده قال لك لا، المفروض تدرس كورس 200 ساعه واشراف مثلا كذا ساعه. بعد كده اخر حاجه قال لك المفروض تدرس 350 ساعه واشراف مثلا تاخد اشراف مع بي سي بي اي واشراف مع دي بي سي بي. يعني دي حاجات كده معينه، مسميات في البورد، المفروض تاخد اشراف مع ده واشراف مع ده. قفلوه ليه في دول العالم؟ ليه؟ رقم واحد، هم مش قادرين يوفروا الخدمه دي باكتر من لغه، فقط قادرين يوفروها بالانجليزي. وانت تخيل كده، انت عندك منتج فيه 200,000 بيتكلموا انجليزي و8000 بيتكلموا لغات تانية، انت هتعمل ايه؟ هيبقى مهمتك بس انك مهمتك ان انت تكون بس بيكون في يعني تقدم الخدمه للناس دي بس. رقم اثنين، المعايير مختلفه، والبي سي بي اي كان قائم على القوانين. ده اللي انا دايما بقوله يا جماعه، القوانين اللي موجوده في الولايات المتحده الامريكيه، ودي طبعا مش بتمشي مع الحاجات الثانيه. طيب ندخل على بورد الكيو بي اي. قال لك ده اتفتح في 2012. البورد ده بيقول لك هو تقريبا خد نفس الحاجات اللي كان بيعملها البي سي بي اي وطبقها. الفرق ان هو بدل ما كان في امريكا بس، انتشر هو في جميع الدول يعني. الاي بي او بقى قال لك احنا لا قلدنا الكيو بي اي ولا قلدنا البي سي بي اي، احنا كنا بنروح نشوف ايه المشكله او ايه القوانين المتفقه مع مكان معين ونبدا نشتغل عليه. يعني ما كناش بس بنشتغل على القوانين القائمه مثلا في بورد البي سي بي اي في امريكا، لا احنا كان هدفنا هدف انترناشونال. يعني بنحاول نشوف المشاكل في جميع الدول ونبدا نشتغل ان احنا نوفق كل ده، وعملنا بورد. بس الامتحان مش سهل، بيقول لك الامتحان صعب جدا، ولكن يعني البورد حاليا ان شاء الله يكون له ذو قيمه عاليه يعني. يس دكتور. I have do you have any answer? Do you need any answer about this or enough?
Well, so that explanation was, was the
That's enough. Okay.
the theoretical, that was kind of the theoretical difference between the two. Like why we started our mission, like the reason we exist, our mission, 100% is for the international community. That,
هو بيأكد تاني على
in
ان
all,
الاي بي
in
او
all,
هدفه الانترناشونال كوميونيكيشن. يس دكتور.
yeah, all of the requirements were not decided by me. All the requirements and all the decisions that are made are informed by a professional advisory board. We have 90 behavior analysts from around the world that
واو،
make the
90.
90, and so we have the perspective of 60 different countries being represented on the advisory board. So all of the decisions, the requirements, the changes, the costs, everything is informed by the international community.
واو.
Our organization, from the bottom to the top, is operated by behavior analysts. There are no exceptions. The QABA is not owned and operated by behavior analysts. There are behavior analysts that are employed there, and there's not behavior analysts that are employed there. It's just a different organizational model. We have behavior analysts throughout the entire organization, and nothing but behavior analysts from all around the world making decisions that affect behavior analysts all around the world. And the same is not true for any other organization.
واو. هو ضاف حته كويسه جدا عايز اقولها، قال ان هم عندهم في البورد ده اللي اسسوا البورد ده عباره عن 90 اي بي اي، يعني 90 متخصص في علم الاي بي اي هم اللي اسسوا البورد ده. وقال لك احنا بنحترم قواعد 60 دوله. يعني قال لك البي سي بي والكيو بي اي هم فقط قايمين على قواعد الولايات المتحده الامريكيه، ولكن لما جم يفتحوا البورد الاي بي او اعتمدوا على احترام قوانين 60 دوله. يعني بداوا يجمعوا من الدول دي، وبداوا ان هم يحاولوا يدمجوا الثقافات ويحاولوا يطلعوا بحاجه يعني تكون متوافقه مع كل الدول دي. عشان كده مثلا في البي سي بي اي ربما تلاقي حاجات مخالفه جدا يعني ربما قد تكون مخالفه حتى ليك كعربي، مثلا على موضوع الهدايا او موضوع حاجات معينه تانية مش وقت ان احنا نتكلم فيها. اوكي دكتور. There is a question is coming more from the parent also. It's called uh, why is the certifications is important. I know ABA. Why I go to work with the center or my son without any certification? Why certification is important? ليه الشهادات مهمة؟ ما اشتغلش ليه ABA بدون شهادات؟ Yes, doctor.
That's the most important question of this meeting today. Certifications. So let's any field, any industry, any profession that's been established has certain requirements to enter, right? If you want to be a medical doctor, you need to go to medical school. You have to do a residency. You have to do certain things. If you want to be an attorney, you have to study law for a certain period of time. You have to pass the bar exam. There's certain things you have to do. In applied behavior analysis, if somebody wants to practice in an informed way, in an ethical way, in a knowledgeable way, the field, the professionals within the field have said, these are the things that you have to do to enter the field to practice competently. So that's what we call the standards or the requirements. The certifications show people that that individual has met the requirements and has demonstrated the standards that our own field has said you must meet in order to enter this field competently, so that you can work with people safely, ethically, in an informed way. So the certifications allow parents to say, this person has entered the field properly and has been properly trained and they have the knowledge. And this person, even though they might be employed by a center, they have not demonstrated that they have the required training, the required experience, that they've passed the required knowledge exam. So you can be, and this is the entire purpose of certification. It is a layer of community protection, so that consumers like parents, teachers, other people who want ABA services can tell exactly who has met the standards to enter and who hasn't. And even though it might be possible for someone to be very well trained without receiving a certification, the problem with that is nobody can tell. The certifications allow someone to see in a very tangible way, this person has received the training. So it's very, very important for therapists and technicians to go through the process. And it's very, very important for people that own and operate ABA provider organizations, ABA service provider organizations, to require their employees to get certified. It's better for their centers, it's better for the parents, and obviously it's better for the children who they serve, because then everybody understands the theory, everybody knows the jargon, everybody knows the implications of what it is they're doing. So it's very, very important. It's important at the therapist level, the technician level. It's also very, very important for behavior analysts to have gone through, at least 270 hours of training, to have what basically is a year-long supervised practicum or internship, to pass a knowledge exam. And it's a difficult knowledge exam. And when you pass that, what it shows is you're able to practice independently in our field. You can handle difficult behaviors, complex behaviors. You can do assessments and write support plans and teaching plans. And you can do this because you've been trained in the classroom and through experience and other requirements to demonstrate that you have those skills and use those skills. So it's of critical importance.
اوكي. هو الدكتور كان انا سالته سؤال. انا دلوقتي بفهم، مش عارف مين اللي بيغير الترجمه يعني. احنا مش بنعمل ترجمه، انا بترجم لكم يا جماعه، بس الكابشنز دي معناها ان هو بيترجم كلام الدكتور من انجليزي لانجليزي، مش هيقدر يعمل اكتر من كده، فمحدش يغيره لو سمحت. دلوقتي انا سالت الدكتور سؤال: ليه الشهادات مهمه؟ ليه الشهادات مهمه؟ فقال لك ده يمكن اهم سؤال هيكون موجود في الميتنج ده. رقم واحد، قال لك لانك لازم تمشي على خطوات. يعني انا عشان ابقى دكتور لازم بدخل الاول الابتدائي، ثم الاعدادي، ثم الثانوي، ثم الكليه، ثم باخد مثلا زماله مع جامعه معينه عشان ابقى دكتور. فالخطوات دي لابد منها، مش اي حد يجي يقول لك طب انا فاهم في الطب انا هديك دواء. ده رقم واحد. رقم اتنين، عشان تظهر للناس ان انا فاهم في الحاجه دي يا جماعه. ما هو دلوقتي قال لك دي حاجه اسمها زي مثلا ستاندرد او ستيبس، يعني خطوات بتمشي عليها عشان توصل للحاجه دي. طب انا درست الحاجات دي، انا دخلت كليه الطب ودرست زي الفل، وينفع اروح افتح عياده كده؟ قال لك لا، برضو لازم يكون في شهاده من كليه الطب انك تقدر تمارس مهنه الطب. ليه؟ هتوريها للناس. يا جماعه انا دلوقتي خدت ال 200 ساعه بتوع التدريب، وخدت اشراف في كذا كذا كذا، فانا حاليا مؤهل ان انا ادي جلسات مثلا اي بي اي، او ان انا مثلا خلاص ابقى دكتور اهو، فانا هفتح عياده مثلا يعني. رقم ثلاثة، قال لك ده يعتبر زي قانون كده متعارف عليه. انا عشان يعني اي ولي امر مثلا دلوقتي يجي يقول لك ايه، طب انت دارس ايه؟ فلازم حتى لو انت كنت عارف في الحاجه دي، لازم يكون معاك شهاده انك عارف في الحاجه دي. فهو انا هساله كمان السؤال ده، يعني هل الشهاده فقط مهمه؟ في ناس معاها شهادات ومش بتكون يعني كويسه. هل الشهاده في حد ذاتها بس ذو قيمه؟ هيقول لك لا. ومع ذلك انا هساله يعني. يعني هو كده اختصر الكلام. الشهادات مهمه ولا لا؟ الشهادات مهمه عشان حاجتين: رقم واحد، بتظهر للناس انك شخص معتمد. رقم اثنين، لان اي علم لازم يكون ماشي على الخطوات. فالشهاده دي بتعني انك مشيت على الخطوات دي، انك مثلا خدت ال 200 ساعه وخدت الاشراف ودخلت الامتحان، وحاليا انت تقدر تمارس المهنه دي. دكتور, there is a question is coming from يعني it's personal question. I met like I will not say most of people, but like little from certified ABA. They have the certified only, but if you see his session or her session, you will say he didn't study ABA. My question is, the certification can say this one is certified and he can do this one, or what is the something we can say this is, we can say he can work by EBA.
I'm sorry. Are you
Okay.
saying?
I'm sorry again.
Okay.
Like I see some people, they have certification in EBA like UBA or BCBA, but when I see his session, I guess no, he didn't study EBA before. That means the certification doesn't say this one can make EBA session for me.
Okay. I think I hear what you're saying. So anybody that has the IBA, anybody that has a BCBA, anybody that has a QBA has met the requirements. They have taken they have passed, they have studied, they have taken the 270 hours of required ABA education. They passed an exam. They have certain experiences that allow them to practice. That does not by itself mean that everybody knows how to do everything in the field. This field is very, very broad. You have OBM, you have organizational behavior management, you have clinical issues, you have pediatric feeding, you have gerontology, you have early intervention, you have speech and language and communication. There's severe behavior, self-injury, aggression. You can work in schools, you can work in community settings. The minute that someone gets their certification, that doesn't mean that they're experts in everything related to the field. What it means is they have met the minimum required standards to enter the field and practice ethically and professionally. The way that I personally look at certification, and this is just a different mindset, because I know when a lot of people are going through the process to earn their certifications, they look at when they get their certification, that's the finish line. I look at certification as that's the starting line. That's the point you have to get to before you can enter the field. Once you enter the field, it's the obligation of the behavior analyst to continue to be educated, to continue to learn, to read journal articles, to go to workshops, to go to conferences, to read books, to read chapters, to network with other professionals, to go to conferences, to learn more and more and more about the areas in which that particular person practices. So once you get to the point that you're certified, excuse me, certifications, like I said, these demonstrate that you have what the field says you have to know at least this much. It's the starting point from which additional education and experience will make someone better. So it's possible that you can have someone certified that doesn't know all the answers. That's the expectation. But relative to someone who hasn't done all of that, those people know a tremendously larger portion of information than someone who doesn't have the 270 hours, that doesn't have the supervised practice, that hasn't passed the exam. So although you can have certified people who don't have 10 years of experience or 5 years of experience, or may come across something that they're still unsure how to handle, they will be infinitely better at tackling those problems compared to someone who doesn't have that experience and knowledge and understanding.
واو ذات ميك سنس. انا سالت الدكتور دلوقتي في ناس معاها البي سي بي اي والكيو بي اي والاي بي او ومع ذلك اي بي اي ومع ذلك مش قادرين ان هم يشوفوا يعملوا جلسه. يعني انا شفتها تابع عينيا. فقال لي الناس بتنظر دائما للشهاده ان هي اخر الخط، هو بينظر لها العكس، ان الشهاده هي اول الخط. ان كونك حصلت على الشهاده دي معناها انك حصلت على المتطلبات الاساسيه او المبدئيه انك تعمل جلسه بروفيشنال. يعني انت بس بتبدا انك تحصل على الشهاده دي، مش بس انتهاء، انت خلاص وصلت للشهاده، لا ده انت ابتديت وحصلت على الشهاده عشان تبدا تمارس جلسه صح، وبالتالي كل الحاجات اللي بعد كده بتيجي بالخبره. هو بيقول لك الشهاده لوحدها لا تكفي، لازم العملي بشكل كبير جدا. طيب لو حد عنده اي اسئله يا جماعه يسالها، عشان انا عندي بس سؤال واحد وبعد كده هنستقبل اي اسئله من الناس اللي عايزاها. دكتور, there is a question from, I think this is a therapist is asking, if I have BCBA or QBA or IBO, what the different if I need to work in America, if I need to work in Egypt, if I need to work in Oman or United Arab Emirates, this is a specific rules that you said I need QBA, I need BCBA, I need IBO, or يعني.
If you're going to work in the United States, you need to have a BCBA, period. That's it. There's no other certification that is like the BCBA in the United States. If you're going to the United States, you have to have the BCBA. It will allow you to work in all 50 states. It will allow you to bill insurance company to seek both government and private reimbursement from healthcare companies.
Wow.
It will allow you to be licensed in the states that have licensure in behavior analysis. Nothing else has the same power and distinction in behavior analysis in the United States like the BCBA. There's no question. Outside of the United States, you don't have those same considerations. You don't have licensure. You don't have insurance reimbursement. You don't have government funding. And there may be slight exceptions to this in various places, but none of those, none of the other certifications, ours included, has any restrictions or any benefit outside, like relative to one another. So if you have the IBA, you can work in any country and be recognized as a behavior analyst. So the distinction between the BCBA and the IBA is important, but it's also kind of apples and oranges. The BACB is no longer certifying people outside of the United States. So if someone's going to be certified in behavior analysis outside of the United States, it will not be through the BACB. They have, that is over. So that's why the IBAO was created, to create a very strong certification in ABA for people who cannot get the BCBA anymore.
to be international. اوكي، هو بيقول لك يعني البورد البي سي بي اي هو البورد الاقوى في امريكا. يعني انت تشتغل في امريكا فده يعني يعتبر هو مفعول السحر عندهم، يعني يفتح لك انك تشتغل في 50 ولايه هناك ويكون مدعوم من الدوله وهتكون مرخص. لكن خارج امريكا حاليا هو ما عندوش القوه دي. يعني يمكن مثلا لو انت اشتغلت في اي مكان في العالم وانت بي سي بي اي، فالدوله مش هتوفر لك تامين، او مش هتوفر الكيس اللي عندك تامين، او مش هيكون ليه نفس القوه اللي موجوده بيه في امريكا. عشان كده هم اخترعوا بورد زي او عملوا بورد زي الاي بي اي او الكيو بي اي عشان يبقى ليهم نفس التاثير، ولكن خارج امريكا. لان خلاص في امريكا هو يعني حاليا مقتصر البي سي بي اي فقط على الوجود داخل الدوله في امريكا. لو حد عنده سؤال يكتبه يا جماعه وانا هحاول اترجمه له. There is other question before my question. The question is, there is any strategy, a new strategy can improve the positive behavior and decrease the negative behavior? New strategy. The question is this.
Yeah, you know, that's an important question for a lot of different reasons. So let me say this. There are a lot of people looking for a strategy, which is understandable. But the problem with that kind of thinking is that there is no strategy that applies to everybody and applies to the various situations. And that's the reason that we need behavior analysts. Solutions for childhood behavior problems, solutions for childhood learning difficulties, solutions for communication and development and social skills and life skills. There is no strategy that is universally effective. And if someone's telling somebody that, they're selling something. There is no universally effective strategy. You have to understand the problem, whether that's a language deficit in a young child or whether it's severe behavior in an older child. You have to understand the problem and then use and choose between all the various options. There are hundreds of strategies in ABA that can be applied. You have to know how to apply them, when to apply them, and why to apply them. So the question, I understand where that question comes from. The question comes from this place where it's like, I need help now. What should I do? Unfortunately, if I was going to tell somebody, here's a strategy to try, that may work incredibly well for one child in one situation with one problem, and it could make another child with another problem worse. You have to know how to match the strategy to the situation and to the scenario. So it would be totally irresponsible of me to say, here's something to try, because that's why we need behavior analysts. They need to do the analysis part and then say, based on the results of the analysis part, here's what we need to do and here's why we need to do it.
واو، والله السؤال ده يعني كان سؤال محترم جدا والإجابة أكثر احتراما. خليني أقول لكم هو ليه. السؤال كان بيقول هل في جديد في استراتيجيات التدخل السلوكي سواء لزيادة السلوك الإيجابي أو لخفض السلوك السلبي؟ أنا هجيب لك من الآخر، من إجابته من الآخر. قال لك لو حد قال لك كده إن في استراتيجية جديدة بتزود السلوك الإيجابي وبتخفض السلوك السلبي، ده مش اي بي اي، ده جاي يبيع لك حاجة، اوعى تشتريها منه لأنه كذاب. ليه؟ لأنك قال لك إحنا في الاي بي اي المفروض أنا بعرف ليه هشتغل مع الطفل، وازاي هشتغل مع الطفل، وامتى هشتغل مع الطفل. وقال لك بالظبط كده ان لو فنيه نفعت مع زيد، الفنيه دي ربما ما تنفعش مع بي. لهذا الاساس احنا محتاجين الاي بي. طبعا زيد وهبت انا جايب الامثله من عندي وار اكس او يعني. فقال لك ان كتير من الناس يقول لك بيبحث عن الاستراتيجيات، وده غلط. المفروض ابحث ليه السلوك ده بيحصل، وانا هعمل ايه مع السلوك ده، وامتى هتدخل مع السلوك ده، وهل الفنيه اللي هتدخل بيها دي مفيده ولا مش مفيده. يعني مش بتتاخد كده، باخد العلم الاي بي اي كله على بعضه. قال لك كمان يعني مفيش حاجه معينه بتنفع مع كل الاطفال في نفس الوقت او في نفس التخصص. لازم يكون في اكثر من وسيله. يعني لهذا ظهر الاي بي اي. Yeah, there is a question before also I give the question from them. Is IBA is require Arabic?
Yeah, we have the exam translated into, I think, 8 different languages, and we have all the documentation, meaning the requirements, the ethics, all of the various documents that explain everything. I think we have those translated into 18 different languages. But one of the first that we had was Arabic. So we have all the documents and both exams translated into Arabic. Yes.
واو. انا سالته هل الاي بي او اللي هو بورد زي البي سي بي اي والكيو بي اي، هل البورد الاي بي او فيه عربي؟ قال لك احنا عندنا 8 لغات حاليا مترجمين بيها سواء الامتحانات او الماده العلميه، على راسهم اللغه العربيه. This is a question also, Dr. Michael. Why is difficult to share the EBA in Middle East? I think we answered this question before. EBA is IBO is coming to be international. Yes.
Well, I mean, so historically, and what we learned years ago is that the reasons it was difficult to obtain the BACB certifications were the same reasons in the Middle East as they were in other places.
No, I think you didn't get me, Doctor. I will show you what happened in Middle East. If you try to speak in EBA, someone is coming to you and say, no, don't speak in EBA. You're not certified. Even I'm trying to ask, I'm trying to explain something, I'm trying to say something in EBA. They said, no, don't speak in that because you are not certified. I am certified, I have to speak. This is coming like ethic? I can't speak in EBA if I don't have license.
Well, yes and no. The people who are certified in our field are the people who should be practicing in our field. Yes, I mean, because this is the problem. Anybody can go online right now. They can go to YouTube and they can watch some videos. They might think that they're learning the profession. They might think that they're learning strategies. They might go to a conference or a workshop and come back with some knowledge that's been shared with them. And some people will then take that very, very small amount of knowledge and then try to say that they are behavior analysts or that they're providing ABA services. That's not the way that it works. The field, our industry, our profession has said, if you want to do this, these are the things you have to do. You have to have the education, you have to have the degrees, you have to have the experience, and you have to pass the exam. And only then do you get to the starting point. So the issue is that it has been really, really difficult to obtain the certifications. So there haven't been that many people certified. But again, that's why IBAO exists, so that we can provide a pathway to those standards in a way that other organizations have not been able to do.
Okay, I will continue the question to be sure about everything. If I'm work under like BCBA-D on the center, but I don't have the certification. I don't have money to study. I don't have money to go to the exam. I can speak in EBE. I'm working under supervision. I'm with BCBA like this.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. you can, right? There's not like you're not going to get arrested by the police and thrown in jail, right?
Okay.
So you have the opportunity to. But what our industry, our profession, our field is saying is don't. Unless you've been properly trained, don't. Right? So
I
it's like I can tell you, I could give you some medical advice, but I've never been to medical school. So why would you believe what I'm saying about medicine?
Mm.
Right? I can tell you that, I could give you dental advice, but I haven't been to dental school. So why would you trust me? Right?
Wow, very
So
good answer.
the field of dentistry has said if you want to be a dentist, you have to do these things. In the field of
Uh,
medicine has said if you want to give medical advice and do surgery, you got to go to medical school and get a medical license. Well, the field of ABA has said if you want to practice an ABA and give advice and do the assessments and do these things, then you have to meet the requirements of the field. That's the
واو
certification.
واو انا سالته وبصراحه انا اقتنعت باجابته اول مره اقتنع باجابه حد. دلوقتي يعني في الجزئيه دي، يعني دلوقتي بقول لك في الشرق الاوسط مثلا لما تيجي تتكلم في الاي بي اي او حاجه يقول لك لا ما تتكلمش، انت مش معتمد، انت مش معتمد، انت مش معتمد. فهو قال لك هي مش لا او هي هل انت درست وعندك الفنيات دي ولا مش عندك. بس هو بيقول عشان تبقى عندك الفنيات دي لازم في بطريقه بروفيشنال يعني، او في الايسيك او في الاخلاقيات يقول لك لا ما تتكلمش في الموضوع ده غير لما تكون معاك شهاده فيه. يعني مثلا حد تعبان وانت وصفت له دواء، ممكن وصف الدواء ده يكون عشان انت جربته قبل كده، بس مش معنى كده ان الدواء ده يصلح ليه. ايه اللي يقول يصلح او لا يصلح؟ الدكتور اللي درس في المجال ده وقدر يتوصل للدواء الفعال ده، وعلى هذا الاساس هو وصفه. فهو بالنسبه لهم الشهاده كده، انت عشان تتكلم في الجزئيه دي لازم تكون معاك الشهاده دي. وهو ضاف جزئيه ان انت لو اتكلمت ما حدش هيضربك يعني، ولا البوليس هيجي ياخدك، ولكن هو بيقول لك عشان نبقى بطريقه بروفيشنال اكتر يعني. اوكي. Doctor, when I share the advertisement, I will make meeting with Michael Mueller. The most question is coming in the comments is let him please speak about AFLs, AFLS. So you can give us like a brief about it.
Yeah, I would love to.
Let me translate in Arabic. Sorry. الدكتور مايكل هو مخترع مقياس او اسمه الايفولز. الايفولز ده مقياس بيعلم الاطفال ازاي يندمجوا اجتماعيا بشكل صحيح. يس دكتور.
So most of the time when people are creating learning programs for people with autism, they're using very early developmental language-based assessments. They're using the ABLE, they're using the VB map. Almost 100% of the time, that's what people are using. And what historically has ended up happening is people continue to use those assessments well beyond the point at which they should be using those assessments. There was nothing else to transition to. So we created the assessment of functional living skills so that when someone reaches a certain age, when someone reaches a certain level of development, when it's clear that they've either sort of mastered the necessary skills and the ABLEs and the VB map, they have something to go to, or if they haven't mastered the essential skills and the ABLEs and VB map. And it's not either or. They should be used together. But in the past, when there was nothing else to do, you had these kids that were older, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, whose programs were being populated by the skills and the ABLEs. The skills and the ABLEs and the VB map, those skills are for kids who are 0 to 5 years old. That's the normal developmental sequence for kids that are 0 to 5 years old. So if you're 15, if you're 12, and you don't have some of those earlier skills, there's a really, really high probability that you probably won't have some of those earlier skills, and that's totally fine. But the more time people spend teaching the skills for a 2-year-old, the more time they're not spending teaching relevant skills for independence. So The APLs is to build independent skills of daily living, hygiene, self-care, organization, cooking, self-management.
Please, could you repeat again? Independent, hygiene.
Well, I'll put it this way because I can't list all of them. There's almost 2,000 skills in the APLs.
2,000 skills. Wow.
Yeah. And those skills are broken down into 6 different assessment protocols.
Wow. Okay.
So you have the basic living skills protocol, which
Okay.
has hygiene and self-help and nighttime routines and self-management, those types of skills.
Okay. Hygiene, hygiene, routine.
I mean, there's
You said six is big assessment.
I'll give you the different categories that the assessments are in. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of information in these.
Okay.
You have basic living skills.
Skills.
Basic living skills. That's
basic living skills.
That's one protocol. Another protocol is home skills. So these are skills around the home.
Okay.
Another protocol is community participation. So these are skills that people would use out in the community. There's a protocol for school-based skills.
School.
And there is a protocol for vocational skills. Vocational, like work, employment.
Okay.
Vocational related skills.
Okay.
And then the one that has the most advanced skills is called the independent living skills protocol.
Okay, let me translate this, then I'll back to you again to continue. يعني هو أنا سألت الدكتور عن المقياس اللي هو before I translate it, is we can use it and ignore ABLES and VB map, or we have to use VB map and ABLES in the same time. And the other question is, it's from which age? يعني it's cover which age? From 0 to 20, from 0 to 10, or what?
So the first question, you can use the ABLES or the VB map at the same time. You don't have to jump from one to the other. You don't have to stop one and start the other. You can use them simultaneously and then have a broader picture of both early conceptual and developmental language skills and also business skills. So that's the answer to the first question. The answer to the second question is, I looked at I think there's probably 500 to 600 skills in the APLs that would be relevant to teach someone who's 5 or 6 years old. So it starts much earlier. I should say this: the skills are much more relevant for kids at younger ages than people tend to think. It's not just for teenagers. It's not just for young adults. The skills actually start quite young, 5, 6 years old, and go throughout the life.
Teenager. Started from 5, like from early intervention to teenager, like 18 years old,
and beyond, and into adulthood. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
All throughout the whole lifespan. Yep.
واو ما شاء الله. الدكتور انا سالته، كان يعني يمكن انا يعني بكل صدق تواصلت مع دكتور مايكل مولر عشان البرنامج ده تحديدا، او سوري عن المقياس ده تحديدا. انا عرفت ان هو يعني مؤسسه، بعيدا عن ان هو رئيس بورد كبير زي الاي بي او. انا تواصلت معاه عشان السؤال ده تحديدا، اللي هو الايفولز، اللي هو اسسمنت فانكشن لايف سكيلز، ده بيعمل ايه؟ لخص الموضوع هو في ان الاسسمنت ده اولا احنا عندنا الايبلز وعندنا الفي بي ماب. قال لك دول لازم اشتغلهم مع بعض. طب جيب الايفولز اللي هو مثلا شو بقى اخترعوا مثلا او كتبوا يعني، او هو المؤلف بتاعه. قال لك بينقسم من 6 حاجات، يعني في 6 بنود رئيسيه. رقم 1 بند الحياه اليوميه. رقم 2 بند المنزل، ايه اللي انت بتعمله في البيت. رقم 3 التفاعل الاجتماعي. رقم 4 ايه اللي بتعمله في المدرسه. رقم 5 الحاجات اللي المفروض او السكيلز اللي المفروض اكتسبها في العمل. رقم 6 السكيلز او المهارات اللي المفروض اكتسبها عشان اكون يعني بقدر اخدم نفسي. يبقى قال لك المقياس ده بيركز على 6 حاجات. رقم 1 مهارات الحياه اليوميه، مهارات في المنزل، مهارات التفاعل الاجتماعي، مهارات المدرسه، مهارات العمل، مهارات الاعتماديه. قال لك ان ال6 بنود الرئيسيه دول بينقسموا ل 2000 مهاره. يعني كل واحده من دول نفترض مثلا هتكون فيها مثلا حوالي تقريبا من 300 ل 400 هدف المفروض الطفل او المفروض الشخص ده يتقنهم. قال لك ان الحاجه الثانيه ان هو بيبدا من مرحله الطفوله المبكره لحد الانسان ما يموت، مش زي مثلا الايبولز او الفي بي ماب مقتصر على عمر معين مثلا من 0 ل 5، من 5 ل 18 مثلا. لكن هو الاسسمنت ده من اول ما الانسان يتولد لحد الانسان ما يموت، المهارات دي المفروض يكتسبها. فهو بيمشي على مراحل حياته المفروض يكون اكتسب المهارات دي يعني. Yes, doctor, you can continue about the AFOLs.
Yeah, the April's one. So all this is going to sound obvious, but all kids grow up. All of them. All children grow up. All children, when they grow up, need to be as independent as possible. They have to have skills that they can perform on their own. We have to find ways to allow them to be independent, right? So that they're not dependent on their parents, they're not dependent on caregivers, they're not dependent on staff, that we foster independence so that when they wake up in the morning, they can brush their teeth or shave and shower and make breakfast and get ready for school or get ready for work or go to the gym or whatever they do in their daily life. Everything that we do for people, everything that we do for our clients is something that we can teach them to do on their own. And and it's incredibly important that we teach these individuals to be as like to have as much I keep saying independence, but that's really what it is. We have to, instead of just telling them everything to do over and over, we have to develop a sense that it's okay for them to do it on their own. We have to teach them to do these things on their own. It's very, very different to teach somebody how to do something when you tell them to do something. It's a lot different to teach them to recognize that things have to be done and teach them to do that when those things have to be done. That's a big difference and a big shift. Normally, we're very satisfied when people do what we tell them to do. But when it comes to life skills, we have to teach people to recognize when things have to be done and how to do it in that moment. And we can say, go make a bowl of cereal, and we can be satisfied with that. But we're more satisfied if someone makes a bowl of cereal when they're hungry in the morning and we don't have to say anything. That's independence. They get dressed because they need to get dressed, not when we tell them to. Those are the things that so when I got up this morning, nobody told me to take a shower or brush my hair or get dressed. I did that because I know that those things have to be done.
Independent. Yeah, you know that.
That's what we need to teach kids as they're growing up. We can do that through these kinds of instructions, but we have to kind of get over to the next level, which is after they know how to do it, we need to get them to do it when they need to do it on their own.
Oh, okay. Doctor, before I translate, is AFOLs like continue, like teach you what you will do at home? Then when you go outside, he will teach you how you communicate. Then after you reach to your work, he will teach you how you do. It's continue.
Yeah.
Okay, I will translate. هو بيقول إن البرنامج ده يعني بيمشي معاه كده كأنه نظام حياة. هو بيعلمك انت اول ما تصحى من النوم مثلا دي مهارات الحياه، المهارات اللي المفروض تعملها مثلا في اليوم 1 2 3. مجرد ما تطلع بره يبدا ان هو يجيب لك المهارات اللي كانت بتحصل بره ويدربك عليها. خلصت وانت بره اهو في المواصلات رحت الشغل، يدربك هتعمل ايه في الشغل، رجعت من الشغل رحت مش عارف فين. هو تقريبا ماشي معاك طول اليوم، يعني البرنامج مستمر، الاهداف بتاعته مستمره. بدرب هنا وبدرب هنا يعني هو بيشوف الحاجات اللي انت بتعملها يوميا سواء في البيت او بره البيت، بعد كده تروح الشغل وماشي على المهارات دي او الاهداف دي، بحيث التدريب يكون يعني مستمر. آه، الدكتور قال حاجه انا نسيتها، اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. كمان قال على يعني موضوع الايه، سوري افتكرتها الحمد لله. موضوع الايفولز ده، قال لك ان انا مش غرضي كمان ان انا ادرب الطفل لما اقول له اعمل الحاجه دي يعملها، لا، هو هدفه ان هو ان هو يدرب الطفل على ان هو يعمل الحاجه دي لما يحتاجها. يعني انت تصحى من النوم مثلا، مثلا بتخش الحمام، بتنظف نفسك، بتلبس هدومك، بتحط بيرفيوم، بتخرج مثلا يعني. هو بقى مش عايز يدرب الطفل يقول له حط بيرفيوم فيحط، خش الحمام فيخش، لا، عايز دربه ان هو لما يصحى يعمل كده من نفسه، لما يحتاج المهارة دي يعملها. اوكي دكتور. Someone is asking, could you help us to provide like name of books we can read it in ABA? Simple book, we can start by it, like one or two.
Um, uh, to be honest, I'm not really aware of any simple ABA book. There's one years ago that was very influential that would still be good today. Let Me Hear Your Voice, it's called. I don't know if it's translated into
Let
Arabic.
me hear your voice.
Let Me Hear Your Voice. That would be my probably the best recommendation.
Very good. Okay. There's a question. It's called the reason I jump. Did you read this book?
What is it called?
The reason I jump.
No,
اوكي. طيب اوكي، الدكتور بينصح بكتاب اسمه Let me hear your voice، دعني اسمع صوتك او استمع الى صوتك يعني. بس بيقول هو مش عارف هل هو مترجم ولا غير مترجم. ده اكتر كتاب هو بينصح بيه، Let me hear your voice. اوكي. Next question is the study the sorry the if I take IBA أو in Arabic, it will be different if I take it in English when I take the certification.
So I'm putting a link into the chat.
Okay.
It's an Amazon link, but if anybody clicks on it, they'll be able to see the book I was talking about.
بقول هو هيحط اللينك في الشات، لو حد ضغط عليه هيظهر له الكتاب اللي هو كان بيقول عليه دلوقتي. Yes, doctor.
Yeah, so you're asking the question, is it better to get a certification
in English and Arabic? Yeah.
Yeah. So the goal of IBAO, okay, our goal, our mission, our vision is to allow someone in their own language to understand the requirements, meet the requirements, and pass the exam, so that being a certified behavior analyst does not require you to be proficient in English, writing, test taking, etc. You should be able to be a certified behavior analyst in the Middle East, without having to know English very well. That's our goal. But some people prefer to learn in English and therefore take the exam in English. Some people prefer to learn in Arabic and take the exam in Arabic. There is no difference in IBAO certifications if you take the exam in Arabic or if you take it in English.
Wow.
It's up to the individual, and that's part of the cultural appreciation that our organization have. We want to have the flexibility to allow someone to get the same certification in the language that they choose to take it in.
اختصارا قال لك ما فيش اي فرق تماما بين الشهاده الانجليزي والشهاده العربي، واحنا هدفنا ان الشخص اللي موجود في الوطن العربي هو لو خد بالانجليزي هيحصل ايه؟ هو اصلا شغال في الميدل ايست. بس قال لك في ناس بتفضل ان هي تدرس بالانجليزي وتمتحن بالانجليزي، في ناس بتفضل تدرس بالانجليزي وتمتحن بالعربي، في ناس بتفضل تمتحن بالانجليزي تمتحن بالعربي وتدرس بالعربي. قال لك ده براحتك خالص، الشهادات ما تفرقش اذا كان حد خدها بالانجليزي ولا حد خدها بالعربي. والحمد لله ان الاجابه دي جت من حد يعني بحجم مايكل مولر، يعني دي ممكن تنزل ريلز على الفيسبوك. ما شاء الله. Okay, this other question. I think I have the answer to this question, but I will ask it to you. Why, like, I will give you like example. Why Dr. Michael Mueller doesn't depend about a best therapist or best ABA in Middle East to translate the AFL's assessment?
Yeah. So I wrote the AFLs in 2010 and 2011 with Dr. Partington, he wrote the ABLs, right? We wrote the AFLs together.
Okay.
And for many years, he and I owned the company that produced them, sold them, shipped them, everything. I created the online version of the AFLs in 2018, 19. And then Dr. Partington and I sold our rights to the AFLs to a company called Central Reach, and now they publish, market, etc. So I no longer have the ability to grant somebody the opportunity to do that. But I will say this. I consult with Central Reach. I have been doing all I can to promote their international offerings. I've been doing all I can to try to push them to continue translations. The APLs has been translated into various languages. The translation contracts that we had were done when I was still running the organization. But now that I'm not running the organization, they have a little different view on that. They're very US based. So I'm trying, and I have regular meetings with them, and each time I have these regular meetings, I've been trying to get them to see the importance and the value the way that I see it.
Sorry, doctor, but this association is block the translate. They said I will not translate it.
Yes.
اوكي. هو الدكتور بسأله ليه ما استعنتش بحد من الوطن العربي ذو كفاءة يترجم الايفولز او يعني اختبار الايفولز. قال لك ان احنا بعنا حقوق النشر في عام 2012 وبعنا حقوق النشر في عام 2019. يعني هو عمل النسخه 2012 وعمل النسخه الالكتروني 2019 وباع حقوق النشر للشركه، وكانت بدات في ترجمتها ولكن للاسف وقفت عن الترجمه ومنعت ترجمه المحتوى ده. هو بيحاول معاها ولكن الى الان لا يمكن ان احنا نترجم البرنامج ده. There is any reason why is this blog to translate that? Why? There is any reason?
Yeah, I mean they have my feelings about it and their feelings about it are a little different. The company that we sold the APLs to is a software company. So their primary interest is the online version of the assessment. And the reason, and it's a legitimate reason, the reason that they don't want to translate books is because there's so many people that copy the books that there's a loss of intellectual property rights. And for a company that's in the United States, it's very difficult to control that in you know in Saudi Arabia or the UAE or Kuwait or Jordan. So what they feel, and then there's a lot of truth to this, is once you print something and put it out there, people stop buying it. They copy it, they share it, they pass it along.
Right.
and so so in their minds, they're basically giving it away when that happens. So their solution, and I understand that because it's frustrating because it happened to us, but the solution to the loss of intellectual property is to find a way to bring the digital version, the online version, to the Middle East, and
and
so
translate to yourself.
yeah.
اوكي. هو بيقول هو يعني سمعتنا ماشيه قوي بره تقريبا يعني. بيقول لك قوانين النشر في امريكا صارمه جدا، يعني لو واحد خد المقياس ده وحاول ينسخه هيتنفخ من الاخر، ده معنى كلامه. لكن بيقول لك في الشرق الاوسط لو جبنا لك الكويت او السعوديه او الامارات او مصر، مجرد ما يجي هنا هيتعمل له نسخ ومحدش هيرضى يشتري كتاب تاني. فسمعتنا للاسف سيئه جدا بره. اوكي دكتور. There is a personal question. When I shared the post and I said guest who will be with me in the meeting and which day, some from our friends called Ahmed Samir. I think you know him.
Yeah.
It's from Egypt. He said, I am not expecting that the next guest will be Michael Mueller, and the data is November 14. How he know that?
How did he know when the day was?
Yeah, because I shared only the post guest who is coming, who will be with me next meeting, and which day. He coming. I am not guest. I said, Mr. Michael Mueller will be with you in November 14. How he know that? You don't know.
I don't have any idea. I'm drawing a blank on the so this is a behavior analyst in Egypt who guessed who
I share like post. I said to my fans, guest who's will be with me, who's will be with me. He is very famous name, and which day. He said I am not guesting. The next one will be Michael Mueller in November 14. How we know that?
I don't know.
You didn't speak with him.
He no, but he should probably play the lottery.
Oh, mashallah. Okay, I will ask him again. He didn't answer me. Okay, there is a question say the EBA session is very expensive in Middle East. Some parent is asking, is one session or two session weekly will be benefit?
Yeah, so here's some information that not everybody is going to like. So what you're asking. So okay, first of all, it is expensive. It is expensive. It is.
Yeah.
That's the reality. In the United States, that's why it was so important when insurance companies were mandated. They have to cover ABA services. They have to. But it took a long time, and it took a lot of pressure for them to get that way. And part of what convinced the insurance companies is the number of people who are recognized in the field. Like I said, in the US, there's 200,000 people certified. There's a recognizable industry here that was not being respected. But let me say this. Is it beneficial to send somebody to school for 1 or 2 hours a week?
Two sessions.
No. What I'm saying is, like, kids go to school.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
And they go to school all day. Right?
Yeah.
They go in the morning and they come home in the afternoon. Would they get the same benefit of that all-day schooling if they only went 1 or 2 times a week? And the answer is no, of course not. ABA requires, well, I'll say this. The reason that people want ABA services is because it can lead to very, very significant outcomes. It's someone in special education can go from special education to general education. It can change IQ scores and intelligence. It can teach people to talk and to read and to have social skills and to take care of themselves. But these are really, really big outcomes. you can't get those really, really big outcomes by doing something an hour a week or 2 hours a week. So think of it like this.
مم.
If someone is very obese and they want to lose weight, are they going to lose weight if they go to the gym 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week? No, they're not. They're going to have
مم.
to have a very strict change of diet and a very strict and probably fairly intensive physical training program if they're going to lose weight. It's the same thing with education. It's the same thing with ABA. If you want
مم.
to have these really, really big outcomes, you can't get those really, really big outcomes by doing it at some minimal amount. And this is the part that people won't like, but this is reality. Even though it's expensive, the data don't change because of that. And I know it's
مم.
expensive and it's difficult to schedule, and they're doing other things, but the data of our field don't change because of those difficulties. If you want those really, really big outcomes from ABA, you have to do it intensely to get it. There's no other way
مم.
around.
اوكي، هو يعني للاسف الدكتور يعني بيقول لك ان جلسه او جلستين يعني ما يفيدوش خالص في الABA. بيقول لك تخيل ان انت بتروح المدرسه يوم او اتنين في الاسبوع، تخيل ان انت عايز تخس. طبعا انا بتكلم بحزن بصراحه. انت عايز تخس فانت مش لازم تعمل دايت قاسي وتروح الجيم على الاقل مثلا 5 ايام في الاسبوع، مش هتروح يوم في الاسبوع يومين في الاسبوع والاخر هتقول عايز نتيجه يعني. ده معناه ان في ناس كتير جدا بتضحك على الناس وبتقول ان جلستين في الاسبوع بتنفع. في راي الدكتور ده مش هينفع تماما، بل بالعكس ده مش شغال خالص في الداتا. فقال لك ان هو انا عارف ان هو غالي، بس هو في امريكا بيكون متغطي يعني، فعشان كده بياخده تقريبا بشكل شبه يومي. لكن في الشرق الاوسط مش كده. آه فيعني ادعوا لي بس يتم اعتمادي بشكل رسمي، وبامر الله انا هشرف على ناس كتير جدا لوجه الله، بحيث ان الجلسات دي تبدا تتعمل بشكل يومي، ويعني باسعار بسيطه بعون الله. الله يكرمك. طيب so there is a question also. Um, this is very big question but I will ask him. ازاي اعمل جلسه صح في الABA? How can I make a good ABA session?
Well, that's a big question because
Yeah,
it involves a lot of details that I don't know.
yeah.
So and even what an ABA session is different from person to person. But I'll attempt to answer it in a very general way because it's a very general question. The therapist and the child need to have rapport, right? They need to have a relationship. They need to be on good terms with one another. The session should be fun.
Fun.
You need to have reinforcers that are individualized to that particular child. Kids like different things. We need to figure out what those things are for a particular
Okay.
child. The skills that we're teaching have to be based on recent and appropriate assessment information so that we're teaching things that are very specific to that child. The child needs to know that they're doing well. So there needs to be a lot of positivity and
Okay.
reinforcement of skills. Typically, sessions work best when you work for a little while, then you take a break, and you work for a little while, then you take a break. So there's not really overly sustained periods in any one setting. Getting away from the table and moving to natural environments is very helpful. So without knowing any more details, I mean, if you can do those things, you're going to have more success than if you don't do those things.
واو جود. هو الدكتور بيقول ان السؤال ده كبير جدا وانا قلت له كده يعني، بس بيقول لك عشان تعمل جلسه ABA صح هيقول لك يعني شويه خطوات ربما تساعدك انك تعملها يعني بشكل احسن. اول حاجه ان الجلسه تكون مرحه، يعني مش قافله كده، يكون فيها ضحك مناقشه لعب مع الطفل، تكون فن. رقم اتنين يكون فيها يعني رينفورس او رينفورسمنت، يكون فيه معززات، اعمل كذا وهديك كذا، يكون في حاجات الطفل بيحبها عشان الطفل يكمل. رقم 3 تراعي احتياجات الطفل. يعني تشوف الطفل محتاج ايه وتديله، مش هو مثلا في المدرسه والمفروض مثلا يدرس اكاديمي وانت بتدرسه مثلا حاجه تانية مثلا يعني. تكون بادئ الموضوع باسسمنت او باختبار يعرفني الطفل محتاج ايه ومش محتاج ايه عشان امشي على خط صح. قال لك جزأ الجلسه، يعني ادي 5 دقائق وبريك شويه دقيقه، ادي 10 دقائق وشويه بريك بحيث ان الطفل يفصل. واهم خطوه قال لك جيت اواي فروم ذا تيبل، يعني ابعد عن عن الديسك او عن الترابيزه واشتغل شويه في البيئه الطبيعيه. لو حد عنده سؤال يا جماعه يسال. لو سمحت اللي قالت ان بداوا يترجموا الاختبار ده يا ريت تكلمني بعد البث، تعملي سكرين بس تقول لي ان حضرتك قلت لي كلمني بعد البث. This is not a
ممتاز
question,
احنا
Dr. Michael. Some is saying we started to translate AFOLs in Middle East. This is bad or good news, I don't know.
Well, it's not it may be good news, but
اه
it's not appropriate and it's not legal. So listen, I understand the importance of the
yeah.
APA. I do. I wrote it, I believe in it. I've seen it and I use it, and it has tremendous impact to
اه
change the lives of children and adolescents and young adults. I mean, it is powerful. Um, so I totally appreciate someone doing what they can to access the information. I get it. Um, when it was mine, we allowed people to translate it. Whoever asked, as long as they was like an approved like translation group, and we knew that they knew what they were doing. But we don't own it anymore, and the Arabic translation did not get finished when we had it.
Mm.
So I totally understand. I'm personally doing all I can to work with this other organization to allow these things to move forward. So I mean, I can't, obviously I can't condone it. I can't promote this because it's not appropriate, but I do understand why people would do that. So for me, I'm kind of I'm in between a rock and a hard place, as they say.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not right, but I understand.
هو سألت السؤال بقول له يعني في ناس بدأت تترجم المحتوى ده حاجة حلوة ولا وحشة؟ قال لك والله هي حاجة حلوة ووحشة. أولا هو لما كان معاهم ما كانوا سامحين بالترجمة وكانوا بيقبلوا إن أي حد عايز يترجم بيترجمه، ما كانش فيه مشكلة. لكن لما باعوا حقوق النشر لناس تانية فهم مش قادرين يعملوا حاجة. هم طبعا عايزين حالة الطفل تتحسن، ولكن اللي بيحصل ده غير قانوني. This is a first question, doctor. If I need to pay this AFOLs, how much it will be in like Amazon or any online shop by
Well,
dollar?
if somebody wants to get the guide, which is kind of like the instruction manual, and they want to get all 6 protocols, I think it's about 250 US.
250.
I think.
$250. Let me get it in Egyptian pounds. It will be 5. And, oh, I
Let
will
me
tell
see.
you something, doctor, but يعني like you will surprise about that.
It's
هو
a
الدكتور
lot.
بيقول
It's
اشتري
a
6
lot.
كتب ب $250. You know, it equal in Egypt 12,500. This is, I have to work 6 months to pay this assessment. That's why it's very. I know. Maybe
But let me
$250 is like I think 1 day or 2 day in United States, but in Egypt 6 months.
well
And I
let me
don't have to eat. I don't have to go to traffic. I don't have to do anything. I just work and save.
but listen,
Ah,
that's the US price. So the reason I say that is because when I still had control over this,
yeah.
and we had translations in other countries. So for instance, Brazil.
Brazil, yes.
So when we had these translated into Portuguese in Brazil,
Mm.
instead of selling the individual protocols for $45, we
Wow.
we allowed them to sell the individual protocols for $10.
Wow.
So when I had control over this, and we could
Mm.
make decisions based on the cultural differences differences and the regional differences, then we allowed them to do that. But I'm not in control of this anymore.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
have nothing to do with it.
This is
So-
bad news, Dr. Michael.
So the price that I gave you is what it is in the US. If I can be successful in persuading the new group to do what we did, that same price would not exist there, and we would lower it because of the wages that you're talking about.
اوكي، انا بقول له، هو بيقول ان انا لو انت عايز تشتري ست كتب ممكن تلاقيهم مثلا ب $250. فانا قلت له ال $250 يعني يعادلوا شغل 6 شهور في مصر، لا هتاكل ولا هتشرب، لان في اخصائيين راتبهم 2000 جنيه بس. ف 2000 جنيه في 6 شهور ب 12000 عشان اشتري بس اختبار واحد. قال لك هو لما كان معايا انا كنت ببيعه في البرازيل ب $10 والاختبارات كامله كانت ب $45. فبقول لك ده سعر اليو اس، بس هو حاليا مش معاه الكنترول او يقدر يعمل اي حاجه في موضوع بالكتب ده. عموما انا هاني معاه حاليا. لو سمحتوا من اللي قال ان احنا بنترجم الكتاب
أستاذ
يتواصل
أحمد،
معايا. لسه انا قبل ما انهي
في سؤال مهم. في سؤال مهم.
اوكي دكتور اتفضل. يس
هاي دكتور مولر.
دكتور شريف الشاذلي need to ask you Dr. Mueller a very important question. He's QBA and is working in Maria Center in Saudi Arabia. Yes دكتور.
هلو دكتور مولر.
Hello.
اتكلم بالانجليزي ولا اتكلم بالعربي وحضرتك تترجم يا استاذ احمد عشان الناس
زي
تفهم
ما تحب
السؤال
يا
كمان؟
دكتور. لا حضرتك تحب، مفيش
مفيش
مشكله.
مشكله، ما عنديش فرق بين الاثنين. خلينا اتكلم انا بالعربي وحضرتك تترجم، مفيش مشكله.
طيب ماشي اوكي اتفضل.
احنا بنتكلم، السؤال هيكون عن زي ما هو اتكلم عن ان مفيش فرق في الاعتماد ما بين الشهاده باللغه العربيه او الشهاده باللغه الانجليزيه، المهم انك تمتلك المهارات. عايزين نتكلم معاه على فكره ان بعض المشرفين بيصروا على ان لازم الدوكيومنتس اللي بنستخدمها في الجلسات، بما اننا بنشتغل ABA، لازم تكون ان انجلش، وكمان لازم الخطط تكون ان انجلش، رغم ان احنا بنشتغل في الشرق الاوسط مع عرب ومع ناس عرب والسنتر عربي والاداره عربي، ولكن بما اننا بنشتغل في الABA فلا بد ان يكون كل الدوكيومنتس عندي والداتا بالانجلش. هل هذا صحيح؟ هل فعلا اني عشان احنا بنشتغل بالABA في مركز حتى لو كان في الشرق الاوسط لازم اشتغل ان انجلش، ولا مفيش مشكله ان احنا نشتغل برضك في الدوكيومنتس ان عربي؟ خلاص.
Dr. Michael Mueller, I think this is the last question, but I think this is very important question for me also. Dr. Sharif is asking, uh, not little, most of certified in ABA is said, if you will work in ABA, you have to take the certification in English, and you have to work the session in English, and you have to make the database and the reports in English. And we are working in Middle East. Please give him like words about that. What is your answer about that?
IBAO does not require anybody to do anything in English. We have all the documents, the requirements, everything that is to be known about an organization is translated into Arabic. The exam is translated into Arabic. You can go through the entire process without speaking a word of English. Your supervisor doesn't have to speak English. The relationship between the candidate and the supervisor can be 100% in Arabic. You can meet all the requirements. The supervision forms can be filled out in Arabic. The skills tests can be done in Arabic. The exam can be done in Arabic. Everything can be done in Arabic from the very beginning to the end of the process. We do not require anybody to do anything in English. That is the vision of IBAO, so that you can obtain these certifications in the language that you choose.
Okay, Dr. Muller, but I want to explain something for you. I speak about session with client. We work in Arabic center, and we have Arabic client, and parent Arabic, and supervisor Arabic, me also Arabic. Some supervisors said no, because you are working in ABA, you must all documents in the center must be in English.
Well, that would be that's a center decision, not a IBAO decision. I don't know why they would want that. There's nothing IBAO related that would require that. So we have candidates and certificates in 88 different countries. we get customer support emails in Ukrainian, in Bulgarian. Like if there's a language, we communicate in that language. So if someone has questions, they can submit questions in Arabic. All the forms, any of our requirements can be done in Arabic. So the policy that it sounds like you're referring to, Doctor, is not one that comes from us, but that comes from the local provider. And I don't know why they would have that. That would be up to them.
From your personal opinion, is there is any difference between use document in Arabic in Center Arabic or use English document?
We don't require any differences, no.
There is no
خلينا
difference.
نختصر اجابه الدكتور مايكل. دكتور مايكل اجابته باختصار شديد قال ان هو لا فرق بين انك تدرس بالعربي او بالانجليزي او تاخد الشهاده بالعربي او بالانجليزي، بل بالعكس، طالما انت في سنتر باللغه العربيه فهو يفضل ان كل التعليمات وكل الريبورتس تكون باللغه العربيه. ولما قال كمان ان اي سنتر بيقول لك لا خدها بالانجليزي، فدي قوانين من السنتر نفسه، لكن دي مش قوانين اي بي اي، انا مخترعها من دماغه من الاخر يعني. Dr. Michael Mueller, I know we take more from your time. This is really the last question. It's also personal question. It's said, this is for me. I don't know if someone need to ask it or not, but this is for me. Ahmed Abdul Hamid, how can be Michael Mueller like in future years?
Well, thank you for saying it in such a way that's very humbling. So I think that the best advice, honestly, the best advice that I could give someone new to the field is to take it upon themselves to read articles, to read journal articles, and continue every day to learn more and more about the field. I said it earlier, and it wasn't just a philosophical point. The certifications are the beginning of your entry into the field. It's not when learning stops. It's what you have to do to start. If I look around right here, I have an article right here. I have books open.
Wow.
I have articles.
ما شاء الله.
I have, because
ما شاء الله.
every day I read. Every day I read in the field, and every day I try to learn. I've been doing this for 25 years. I still try to better myself in our field so that our services are better when we work with children directly. So I would say, you know, it's a self-discipline maybe, but you have to continue to just consume the research and the ideas and the knowledge that already exist in our field.
شكرا جدا. دكتور قال، انا سالته يعني ازاي اكون زي دكتور مايكل مولر بعد الايام الجايه. قال لك اول حاجه انك تستمر في القراءه والابحاث على مدار 25 سنه، هو على طول بيقرا. المواصله المستمره في التعليم والتطبيق، البراكتس. ولكن الشهاده ليست النهايه، ولكن هي البدايه. انا هشكره حاليا، بس قبل ما اشكره انا حابب اقول اي حد يا جماعه حضر، انا بشكركم شكرا جزيلا، ويبعت لي بس التلخيص بتاع المحاضره وانا هعمله شهاده حضور زي ما عملت المحاضره اللي فاتت. Thank you so much, Dr. Mueller, about your time. We decide for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and I think we took more than 1 hour and 30 minutes. Thank you so much. I don't have any words to say to you, but I'm very, very happy, and I will put this in my CV. I make meeting with Dr. Michael Mueller, and I hope someday I can meet you like personally. Really, thank you so much.
I would love to. I appreciate everybody else's time too. Mine is no more valuable than anybody else who's here. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. And if people have other questions, please feel free to share my email, or if you want to do another session in the future, I'm happy to do that as well.
Thank you so much. دكتور مايكل مولر بيقول له حد عنده اي سؤال، انا هحط الايميل بتاعه على الصفحه بتاعتي، وكمان يمكن دكتور شريف يحطها على الصفحه بتاعته. لو حد حابب يبعت له اي ايميل في اي وقت يرد عليه، وشخص متعاون جدا. كمان I will share your like Facebook account. I think this is very easy in Middle East. هحط لكم كمان الفيسبوك بتاعه اذا حد حب يتواصل معاه. هو شخص يعني فعلا فعلا متعاون جدا، ومتعاون مع شخص اجنبي للاسف بيكون افضل من الاشخاص العرب، مش عارف ليه، بس وعلى الله قصد السبيل. Thank you so much دكتور مورر. Thank you so much. Thank you. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، لا اله الا انت، استغفرك
Thank
واتوب
you,
اليك.
Dr. Mueller. On behalf
السلام
of
عليكم
our
ورحمه
team
الله.
in Afak Maria for training, we thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
سبحانك
you.
اللهم وبحمدك، لا اله الا انت، استغفرك واتوب اليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. لو سمحت يا شباب، لو حد بيعرف في تقسيم الفيديوهات يتواصل معايا بعد البث مباشرة. تماما، يا ريت. ده اولا. اللي قال على ترجمة البرنامج برضو يتواصل معايا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كان في حد رافع ايده، كويس ان انا ما قفلتش، يجاوب، مفيش مشكلة، انا معايا استاذ محمد، بس سريعا يا ريت. استاذ محمد. طيب خلاص، سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، لا اله الا انت، استغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم
السلام
ورحمة
عليكم،
الله
ازيك يا
وبركاته.
دكتور؟
اتفضل. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اخبار حضرتك ايه؟ معلش انا اسف.
لا تأمرني، اتفضل تحت امرك.
الامر لله.
اتفضل.
انا عندي طفل يبلغ من العمر 3 سنين ونص.
اه.
تمام.
ايوه.
ده ما فيش ادنى كلام خالص، اكيد، وما
اه.
فيش اي تفاعل.
ايوه.
بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى، اولا واخيرا بدأ دلوقتي يتحرك ويبدأ يركب. بسم الله ما شاء الله ان العمليه التفاعل البصري بدأ يزداد،
تمام.
وبدأت اركز عليه اكتر واكتر.
حلو.
جميل.
جميل.
انا خطواتي كده اللي انا ماشيها واللي انا ببدأ احركه في نقطه الكلام واحده واحده من خلال العضله بتاعه اللسان وبتاعه الفك. طبعا في رياله ساعات.
اه.
تمام.
معاك.
هل في خطوات ممكن انا ماشي من خلالها تانية وابدا اسعى ان انا يبقى افضل وافضل من كده؟
طب
او
انا
ممكن
هقول لك
استخدم
حاجه.
ازاي؟
انا هقول لك حاجه. لما حد بيسالني سؤال عن حاله على النت، بخاف اكروت. فانت قولي الحاجات اللي انت قلتها دي على الواتساب، هطلب منك بعض الحاجات وهفيدك بامر الله.
طيب ممكن رقم حضرتك عشان اتواصل معاك على الواتساب؟
مفيش مشكله، ده رقمي اشهر من نار على العالم يا استاذ محمد. ماشي.
مفيش مشكله،
صفر
معلش نقول
خمسة
دلوقتي.
انا بهزر طبعا، والله انا عبد فقير لله. صفر
الله
خمسة
يبارك لك. 0
سوري،
5
صفر واحد صفر. صفر
0
واحد
1
صفر.
0.
اه. 6 7 9 9
تمام.
1 7 5 8.
1
يبقى
7
0 10 6
5. ماشي.
7 9 9 1 7 5 8.
دكتور احمد،
والله لسه ما ناقشش الدكتوراه، ادعي لي.
ربنا يوفقك لاحسن مما يكون.
الله يكرمك، جزاك الله خيرا. الاستاذه
وإياك.
اللي رفع. اتفضل اتفضل.
شكرا ليك.
عفوا. الاستاذه اللي رفع دي، اتفضلي. دايمون او حاجه زي كده، او اتفضل.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام وبركاته.
حضرتك يا دكتور أحمد، أنا مع حضرتك آية محسن.
اهلا اهلا
آية.
وسهلا.
أهلا بحضرتك. هو بالنسبة للشهادة بتاعة الكورس اللي فات، أنا بعت التلخيص على الواتس. هو المفروض بنبعت فين يعني؟ لأن حضرتك ما شفتش
انا على
الرسائل.
الواتساب والله، كل اللي بعت لي وعملت له الشهاده، ربما انا سقطت مني ساعه، انا بعتيه اسمك رباعي بالانجليزي.
حاضر، تمام. ماشي يا دكتور، شكرا لحضرتك.
عفوا عفوا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، لا اله الا انت، استغفرك واتوب اليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.